What's up, everybody? It's Kenny Dufour with Prime Lending, Travis Dutson with Premier Real Estate Opportunities. Today we want to talk about something really important, and I think it's on a lot of people's minds when it comes to buying a home, and that is whether or not it's actually a good idea to buy a home right now. If there's another crash coming, if people should wait a few years to buy. So yeah, we kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. Travis and I were talking a little bit about how real estate is typically a good investment. And you've been in the real estate game for how long?
20 years.
20 years. So he's seen a lot more than me. Tell us a little bit about real estate throughout the years and home values and stuff like that.
You know, home prices and values, they go up and down, all the time. They're always going up and down. But even though they're going up and down, they're still long-term wise always going up. Some good examples of that. A home that I own currently. It's a rental home. We bought the home in 1992 for $77,000. Obviously can't buy much of anything for 77 grand now, other than a really nice truck maybe.
Right.
Well, that home today is worth like $270,000. If you wanted to look and see what it cost new, it was about $27,000. So, and that was built in 1976.
Dang.
So from 1976 to 2019, those 43 years or whatever, the home has gone up 10 times.
Yeah.
From $27,000 up to $270,000.
Gosh.
Now, has there been times in those 43 years that it's gone down? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But in general, it's always going up.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't have wanted to buy one of those back in 1976?
Right. And it's
or
just
10 of them.
This is the way the economy works. Inflation is a real thing. It's the same in real estate. Even with people who are super afraid of, a crash happening. We were talking about you buying your primary home.
Yes.
Obviously, you said there's ups and downs with homes, but buying a home is a good investment in the long game. It always proves to be probably the best investment out there as far as if you're in it for the long game. Now, he bought a home, when was it, 2005?
Yep, summer of 2005. It was almost the peak, just shy of the peak of this real estate boom. And of course, and the boom and bust was not normal. We've always had ups and downs, but they've been, small and moderate ups and downs.
Yeah.
That was a big up and a big down.
Yeah.
And so when it went down, it hurt. No question. We were upside down a big chunk, but we stayed there. We had to pay housing, whether we were renting or a house payment, and we just stayed and we kept making the house payment. And so today, we're almost 14 years later, the home is worth the same thing that it was worth back then, and yet now we have nearly $150,000 of equity because we've been paying on it this time. And our house payment is no different than what the rent would have been.
No, probably even less than it would have been with the rents rising.
It is now. Yeah. Back then it wasn't. It was pretty close, but now rents have gone up, but our house payment hasn't.
Yeah.
So our house payments stayed the same.
Yep.
But rents have gone sky high.
Yeah, absolutely. And people don't realize people sometimes don't think of real estate as an investment. Now, even if he's a realtor, he timed it really bad. He bought a house at a bad time, right? 2 years later, his home value tanked, right? But he stayed in his home. He kept on making payments. You got to stay in it. You got to make housing payments one way or another. You're going to be either paying for your own mortgage or you're going to be paying for somebody else's. So, but because he stayed in his home, he had to stay in the nice home that he bought. He could still afford it. That's why buying a home within your means is reasonable, and that's something that we help with. But because he was able to do that, now he has that equity built up. And even though he timed it as bad as pretty much anybody could time it.
It was pretty bad, yeah.
No offense. He's still fine. And that's kind of the main point we wanted to make with this video is it is not a bad time to buy a house. It is a good time to buy a house. Even if the market goes down, which it inevitably will, like you said, there's always ups and downs a little bit. Buying a house with the idea in mind that it is an investment is a good idea. You're building up equity, and I just don't think people realize how important equity is.
Well, equity is very important. I mean, it can carry us if we have something bad happen in our lives. But even outside of equity, that building of equity, to me, the number one thing about owning a home is if someone buys a house and stays there,
Mm-hmm.
and realtors, we want people to move all the time. That's great for our business,
Yeah.
but it isn't necessarily great for the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Buying a home and staying in a home for a longer period of time is a huge benefit. If you're there for 30 years and you didn't refinance and pull equity out, the home's paid for.
Yeah.
There's now no longer a house payment at all.
Mm-hmm.
The other huge thing, and it kind of goes in junction with that, house payments stay flat. They go up a couple dollars here and there because property taxes and
Yeah.
insurance go up, but the payment itself doesn't change.
Yeah, if you're gonna do a fixed rate, of course. Yeah.
If you get a fixed rate.
Which most people do.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the flip side, rents. They kind of do a little bit of the same up and down that the housing does, but in
Yeah.
general, same thing. They're going up
It's
and down,
going
they're
up.
going up.
Absolutely.
I shared with you, I remember as a kid, before my folks bought their house, I remember renting. I remember being a little kid and we're renting a home. And I asked my mom what that rent payment was. This is a home in Chandler, here in the valley. The rent was $425 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And that home today is probably $1,400 or $1,500 a month.
Yeah.
And so while we only see the rent going up $50 here and there or something like that, long term it's hundreds and
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars. So whereas if you own a home,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't change. So
Absolutely.
you're building equity, you're saving yourself even from a monthly standpoint because rents go up.
Yeah. One more thing I think you told us that was really cool. You have a story of a client who bought a home 3 years ago, got in some trouble, with credit card debt.
Well, in this one, that was one that bought it 7 years ago. But this individual bought 3 years ago and had some health problems.
Oh, yeah.
So he's having to move to family, be with family. Great guy, bought the home literally 3 years ago. He put $7,000 down.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. He put 3.5% down, bought it for $200,000, and made the payment for these 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Almost 3.5 years, I guess. Just sold. He's closing tomorrow because again he's having to move with family to another state. But the check that he is getting tomorrow is $51,000,
Jeez.
and his house payment was less than what rent would be in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
So he totally won.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's not rare.
Totally not
It's
rare.
really not rare. So anyways, it's been a long video, but we just kind of wanted to talk about how it is a good time to buy a house. As long as you buy within your means and you buy, as long as you buy within your means, as long as you know you can afford the payment, you're going to be fine, regardless of what the market's doing. You're in it for the long game. It's going to be an investment. And trust me, in 10 years, whenever you try to sell your house or do whatever, you're going to be grateful that you had that equity versus paying somebody else's mortgage for 10 years. So, Amen. Thanks, guys. Again, Kenny Dufour with Prime Lending, Travis Dutson with Premier Real Estate Opportunities. If you have any questions, hit us up. But thanks, and talk to you later.